And now, bubbling at the surface is the long-ignored cousin of addiction and homelessness: disease.
We have not seen conditions for humans like this since medieval times, period, and that's a fact. But if you get tuberculosis is exploding, non-tuberculous acid-fast bacilli exploding, and then the rat-borne illnesses, plague and typhus. And then we had typhoid fever last week.
He says that bubonic plague, Black Death as it was known, which killed 25 million people over a 5-year period in the Middle Ages, is likely already present in L.A. Andy Bale is the CEO of the Union Rescue Mission. While delivering water to the people he serves, he contracted staph, E. coli, and strep. It cost him his leg.
Most importantly, we've been attacked and threatened. I won't even mention the loss of possessions not bolted down or our daily car break-ins. We all know I'm more concerned about personal safety.
That's the message a homeowner has for Portland City Council. She lives in the Goose Hollow neighborhood and is fed up with homeless campers.
Hammer spoke at Portland City Council about the crime that she and her neighbors have had to endure, from fires to stolen possessions, even violence. Her fellow neighbors showed up too. And now she says since the lockers and porta potty were set up, they're experiencing more threatening behavior.
A swarm of extra campers have shown up in the last week, and we've had a lot of personal attacks from that alone. We hide our children in our homes to protect them. They're no longer able to walk to school.
For the 5 years he's lived in the Pinehurst neighborhood, Harlow Blum says he's dealt with rowdy neighbors. But these neighbors don't live next door. They live behind his backyard wall in a homeless encampment.
There's a lot of noise. They have pets back there. Dogs are barking. Sometimes they argue. Just, like the smells of, human defecation back there.
Harlow says the smell from those drainage ducts in the wall got so bad, he decided to plug them up permanently. He says the fire department has been called out 3 times over the years to respond to fires at the camp. Harlow says his grandchildren won't even set foot in the backyard anymore.
And they're kind of scared to come in the backyard and play.
Talk with residents who say they've been all but abandoned by the city of Oakland.
It's been chaos. We've been abandoned by the city of Oakland.
West Oakland business owner Bill Eason says he's seen it all in his 18 years on Harlan Street, but nothing as bad as this. It's one of Oakland's many homeless encampments on Peralta near the Emeryville border. One Eason and his neighbors say has made living and working here almost unbearable.
I've seen hookers, I've seen drug deals, I've seen needles all over the place. There's drug dealers will drive up on the street and all their customers will just run to and they'll double park in the middle of the street. The customers will run up and then go into the tents.
Last month, Eason ran over with a fire extinguisher and tried to put out flames that roared through some of the tents.
Students are telling us now that the population of homeless on campus has exploded this semester, and they're more aggressive than ever. Problems, but students tell KPIX the homeless problem on campus is out of control.
I wouldn't call it an issue so much more of an epidemic.
I was sitting on a bench and this woman, she approached me and she said, this is my territory, you need to get up from here.
Madonna
To think about it, I'm like, hey, we're paying money, to this school, to come to this school, this is my school. school.
Inside the Joint City University Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Library, students clash with the homeless over desk space.
A historic mansion in Stockton is being destroyed by transients.
Here, I pick up blankets, needles, all types of things in the yard.
Burglarizing and vandalizing, even setting fires in the back of the home, once nearly burning it down. A homeowner struggling to protect her property as transients slowly destroy 112 years of history.
What are those tents doing along the water's edge?
Hello?
They are sex offenders, a makeshift colony of 71 outcasts living here under the bridge because one of the few men here willing to talk is Homer Berkeley, a seemingly harmless guy, until you learn he was sent to prison for 10 years for attempted sexual assault on a 10-year-old girl.
Do need your support and assistance at Home Depot. They just send me another letter stating that if we don't deal with the homeless issue and the blight that surrounds their property, they're going to leave the city of Oakland, but not only the Oakland Home Depot, but they're also going to take the one in Emerville with them and leave.
Woman came home from the Warriors Parade to find her property burned after a fire broke out at a nearby homeless encampment.
That's right. She says she's been complaining about a homeless encampment behind her house along the freeway here for the last 4 years. Well, on Tuesday, her worst fears were realized. Take a look at her car. Firefighters had to break through the window to put out the flames.
It's not fair.
About 10 homeless people have been camping behind her house for the past 4 years. She says calls to police, Caltrans, and the city have gone nowhere.
Well, unfortunately, this is the home that burned. It is here in South LA. The issue is what's behind the home is a large homeless encampment that has been set up in the alley. The family says they've been complaining about it and alerting city officials for months now, and their worst fears were realized last night. Her family shared these videos of the fire that started just after 5 Thursday. The family have called 311 about the tent city multiple times in the last 2 months, worried something like this or worse would happen. Other neighbors say they've called the city too, pointing out the risks of the alley encampment.
Some people are blaming homeless campers for starting that fire. Deborah?
Frank, this building is fenced off tonight. It's red tagged. It is likely a tear down. In fact, its walls are in danger of falling down. And the fire not only displaced a thriving business, but people living closest to it.
There was a homeless encampment that was on fire behind here in the street, and then that started the fire was right next to a window.
From the Fairfield Police Department, we are told now that 2 homes have burned.
Well, you were right about the 2 homes. They also now include 1 detached garage. Let me show you behind me. Some police tell me they believe it started in a homeless encampment
Portland woman is suing the city after a fire at a nearby homeless camp damaged her home. The fire broke out in a city-owned lot on North Kirby Avenue back in December of 2016. The lot is right next to the home of The home was damaged by heat, smoke, and the water that was used to put out the fire. The lawsuit claims the city forced the homeless campers to relocate to that lot and did not enforce various codes. Several nonprofits are also being sued, accused of helping to organize the camp. The lawsuit is seeking more than $540,000. The city declined to comment on the lawsuit.
Huge plumes of black smoke hung over Pittsburgh yesterday, coming from a fire at a roofing supply company. The size of the fire might have been unusual, but its cause was not.
Firefighters say this is where it started, a small homeless camp at the far corner of the property. Do you think the fire was started intentionally or accidentally?
No, intentionally. This is
Why?
all the time. All the time, constantly. Constantly. To me, it's covering up something that they know they did wrong.
And when it comes to frequency, it turns out she's right. A Contra Costa County fire spokesman confirmed at the scene that they spend a lot of time chasing fires started by the homeless.
But the conditions are very dangerous, and a lot of our fires, I don't have the exact number, but I would estimate that more than 50% of these vegetation fires we fight end up starting in, around, adjacent to homeless camps.
The fire department says it's responded to 60 encampment fires just in the past 7 months.
Fire department says they've responded to 136 encampment fires since September of 2017.
A large fire breaks out in Vallejo, threatening homes. Homeowners are furious about how they have learned it started.
This is the area where the fire first started, right in here. This was a homeless encampment, and we're told here. Now, right on the other side of these bushes here is a subdivision. Very dangerous situation. I'm told that several houses in the area had to be evacuated, as we're told that this was started in a homeless encampment, and I'm told that this is not the first time that this has happened from this homeless encampment. In fact,
Larry, this blackened pile of rubble behind me actually represents what's left of 5 tents lost to folks who have been living at this camp.
Oakland's experiment for a city-sanctioned homeless camp has gone up in flames, quite literally. Earlier today, crews cleared up debris and scorched personal items after a fire broke out last night.
Camp was turned into a homeless shelter with barriers, toilets, and washrooms. The city also offering resources and programs. It was called one of Oakland's compassionate communities. There's a vacate sign, a notice to vacate this illegal encampment. It was posted today and says Public Works will be out to clean this site on Friday.
Oakland Mayor Libby Schaaf says the city has tried sanctioned encampments in the past.
All of them have ended in fires, in really dangerous and unhealthy conditions that I believe are not healthy for the unsheltered residents, let alone the surrounding community. From my experience, we have tried it and it has failed.
She says the encampment at Raymundi Park is an emergency temporary fix.
We don't have a permanent place for that encampment yet. And so you will see us use interim measures.
After a very large fire at this homeless encampment in Oakland, a fire that could be seen from the freeway, from 880.
You're looking at the latest fire to break out at an Oakland homeless encampment. It happened this morning in West Oakland.
This ain't too close for comfort. We've been through.
Yesterday, just a few blocks away, another fire. This one destroying homeless campers' belongings and taking out the traffic lights.
Esa madre agarra, luego.
Thanks, movie chef. Fucking homeless cesspool.
homeless encampment is on fire again.
They're all catching on fire now. Here they got tanks. Uh-oh, I better get out of here. They got tanks. Public safety issue happening right now. Better watch out, man. It's coming your way. It's coming your way, man. I don't know. It's coming your way. You better watch out.
Yellow crime tape went up around a section of Union Point Park Sunday morning after Oakland police learned of a shooting involving 2 children. Just before 10:30 a.m., a relative took a 7-year-old boy to a local hospital with a gunshot wound.
This is an ongoing problem, they're telling us, with nearly 300 fires at homeless camps documented last year in the Springs.
I'm going to send you with the ocean cars on that fire at Airport Way South and South Bayview.
At the core of their plea and their petition, that the city use more compassion, they say, when dealing with Portland's homeless population.
For all of us to show compassion to the homeless.
And try to get along and have compassion and empathy.
Because I truly believe that we're all compassionate people.
And let me just be clear, we need to clean these impacts up while being compassionate.
I've heard the word compassion used over and over again, but this is enabling and patronizing folks who really do have other options.
So what is compassion? Letting tens of thousands of mentally ill, impoverished people that are living in a frightening and unpredictable reality sleep in the streets and hang out together in tent communities by the needle exchange? I don't think so. So we throw bums a couple of bucks, we give them a sandwich, and we act like we are such good people. And like with our small act of kindness, we're going to solve this problem that's decaying our cities. The missions around here, the Salvation Army, the Catholic Charities, they just feed these people and help them meet their immediate needs, but they don't actually help them long term. They're basically enablers. It is not a normal thing to have completely insane people who are addicted to crack or meth and have a warped concept of reality, living freely in public parks, as is sanctioned by the city, and in sleeping in the streets for need. We could go back to a time when we went to play with our kids in public parks and had barbecues with our friends and had community events there. We could walk around at night and be less scared.